The forbidden touch Lyra walked through the crystal halls of the alien space station, her head high and steps graceful. She was the daughter of High Ambassador Velta, one of the most powerful alien leaders in the galaxy. Her silver skin shimmered. In the light and the glowing blue gem on her wrist, her soulmate indicator remained dim as it always had since birth. Touch between species was forbidden on this station. Not just a rule, an ancient law, especially between humans and the royal families of Lyra's kind. The law was clear: no contact, no connection, no bonding. Lyra didn't mind. She didn't like humans anyway. They were loud, wild, unpredictable, and they smelled like rusted metal and cheap oil. Disgusting. She passed through the lower repair bay where human workers were fixing a broken cargo ship. Her guards stayed close, but she signaled them to stay back. She liked to walk with confidence, to show the lesser species she was not afraid. That's when it happened. Jace, a young human mechanic, was carrying a large toolbox. He didn't see her walking toward the corner. When he turned sharply, his arm brushed against hers. It was only a second. A simple, accidental touch. But the world stopped. Lyra froze. Her breath caught in her throat. The gemstone on her wrist, dead for 22 years, suddenly blinked once, then again, and then glowed steadily. A soft blue light filled the hallway. Her eyes widened. "No," she whispered. Jace stepped back quickly. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean—" He paused, noticing the light. Is that normal?" Lyra's heart pounded. It wasn't just a glow. It was the glow, the soulmate signal, a sacred sign passed down by blood. It only activated once in a lifetime, and only with one person. She was supposed to meet her bond partner during a formal ceremony, a carefully chosen noble. Not this human. Her guards rushed forward. "Your Grace," one shouted. "Did he harm you?" "No," Lyra snapped, panic in her voice. "Stay back." But it was too late. One of the guards had seen the light on her wrist. His eyes narrowed. The other pulled out a small scanner and pointed it at Jace. "Step away from the ambassador's daughter," the guard ordered. "You are under violation of Contact Law Section 47. "What? I didn't do anything wrong," Jace protested. "It was just an accident." Lyra knew this was bad. Very bad. "Put him in holding," the senior guard said coldly, "until we investigate." "No," Lyra shouted again. "He didn't touch me on purpose. He's innocent." The guards hesitated. Lyra never raised her voice, never defended anyone outside her species. They looked confused, even concerned. Jace looked around, clearly nervous. "Can someone tell me what's going on?" Lyra turned. To him, her voice low. "Leave, now. Run while you still can." What?" Jace blinked. "Why?" "Because if they scan you again and the readings match, they'll erase your mind." Jace's face turned pale. "What the hell? Go," she yelled. The moment broke. Jace dropped the toolbox and bolted down the hallway. "Stop him," the guards yelled and gave chase. But Lyra stepped in their way. "He is under my protection." They stopped in shock. "My lady, this human may have just triggered a bond signal. That is a crime against your bloodline." "I will handle it," she said firmly, hiding the fear in her chest. "Stand down." The guards backed away, confused but obeying. Lyra stared at the glowing gem on her wrist. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. No alien had ever bonded with a human. No indicator had ever reacted this way outside a royal ceremony. And yet, it had. Her entire life had been shaped by rules, honor, bloodlines, and cold duty. Now, a single touch had changed everything. Running from the truth. The lights in Lyra's room were dim, but the glow from her wrist gem lit the walls like a small star. She had tried everything. Iced water, pressure gloves, even signal dampeners, but nothing stopped the glow. It had been 12 hours since the accidental touch. 12 hours since a human, of all beings, triggered the sacred soulmate signal. Lyra paced the floor, her mind spinning like a broken satellite. Her people believed in destiny, but not like this. A bond with a human? It was unthinkable, impossible, illegal. She tapped the wall screen. Computer, show historic bond activations. A list appeared, thousands of names, all alien, no humans. Search for anomaly pairings, she whispered. Only one record came up. Over 2,000 years ago. The entry was mostly redacted. It only said, Soulmate anomaly, cross-species, outcome, war. Lyra sat down slowly, her hands trembling. What if it's real? What if he really is my bondmate? She remembered his eyes. Bright, confused, human. He didn't know what he had done. He didn't feel what she felt, did he? Her hand hovered over the communicator. She had to talk to him. To Jace. Across the station, Jace sat in a dark corner of a junk bay, hidden behind scrap parts and fuel tanks. His heart still raced from the chase. What just happened? He whispered. The alien guards were serious. They wanted to arrest him. For what? A bump? But the way she had looked at him, there was something deep. Like she knew him. Like she was scared for him, and that light from her wrist, he could still see it in his mind. A soft blue glow. It made him feel warm inside even now. Was he marked? Could they track him? He checked his own wrist, half expecting to find a strange glow. Nothing. Just skin. Then his comm buzzed. Incoming signal. Unknown source. Jace hesitated. He almost didn't answer. But curiosity won. He clicked it. A hologram shimmered, showing Lyra's face. She looked different. Less proud. More worried. You're in danger, she said quietly. No kidding, he muttered. Your guards tried to arrest me. They won't stop. They think you violated me. What? I didn't even... I know, she interrupted. That's why I'm calling. There was a pause. I don't understand, he said. Why is this a big deal? Lyra took a deep breath. Because my soulmate indicator activated, and it only reacts to one being in the universe. Ever. Silence. Are you saying I'm your... She nodded once, ashamed. Jace laughed nervously. That's crazy, I'm just a mechanic. I know it sounds strange, she said, her voice shaky. But I checked the records. The only other cross-species bond caused a war. My father will never allow it. My people will erase you. Erase me? Your mind, your memories, everything, like you never existed. Jace stood up, panic rising. This is insane, I didn't ask for this. Neither did I, she said softly. He looked away. So, what now? She hesitated. I don't know. But we need to find the truth. Together. Before they find you first. Jace looked at the screen. Her eyes were serious. Scared. Real. And for some reason, even though every part of him screamed, to run, he nodded. Where do we meet? Lyra blinked. You're willing to risk it? I don't know why, he muttered. But when I saw that light, something inside me changed. I can't explain it. Meet me at Bay 12, she said. Midnight. The signal cut. Back in her room, Lyra turned to the mirror. For the first time in her life, she felt uncertain. Her people were proud, strict, and cold. But that boy, the human, had shown more courage in a few seconds than most nobles did in years. And something inside her whispered a truth she wasn't ready to say out loud. She wanted to see him again. Not because of the bond, but because of how he looked at her. Not as a prize or a noble, but as a person. The gem on her wrist glowed brighter, as if agreeing. But outside her door, someone was listening. One of her father's spies. Now knew everything. Hunted by her own kind, midnight on the station felt like a ghost world. The shining halls were quiet. Only the hum of engines and the soft flicker of lights filled the space. Jace waited in the shadows of Bay 12, heart pounding in his chest. He checked the time. 2 minutes late. Maybe she changed her mind. Maybe it was a trap. Then, footsteps. Quick and light, Lyra appeared wearing a hooded cloak, her gem hidden beneath a thick glove. "You came," Jace said, stepping forward. "I had to," she said, scanning the shadows. "We don't have long. The guards..." Suddenly, the lights exploded into brightness. "Freeze!" Voices echoed from all sides. Red-armored guards stormed in, stun rifles pointed directly at them. Lyra's eyes widened. "No, how did they find us?" Jace grabbed her hand and ran. She didn't resist. Alarms screamed as they raced through maintenance tunnels. Sparks flew as warning lights activated. Security drones whirled in behind them. "Up there," Lyra shouted, pointing to a narrow ladder. They climbed fast, burst through a vent, and landed in the waste recycling sector. Dirty, steaming, and abandoned. Breathing hard, they stopped behind a pile of old metal. Lyra shook her head. "They weren't supposed to know. Someone told them," Jace said. "Someone close to you." She didn't answer, but her eyes told the truth. They were no longer just two people with a strange bond. They were now targets. Back in the royal chambers, Ambassador Velta watched the live security feed. His daughter running through trash tunnels with a human like some common thief. He slammed his fist on the table. "She has disgraced our house." One of his advisors leaned forward. "Sir, should we eliminate the human now?" Velta's voice was ice. "No, not yet." He looked at the glowing gem on the table, his daughter's bond signal. "There's something ancient at work. I want them captured. Both. Alive. I must see the bond for myself." Meanwhile, deep in the tunnels, Lyra tore off her gloves. The gem on her wrist was still glowing, brighter than ever. "Why does it glow even stronger now?" Jace asked, eyes wide. Lyra paused. "Because I think it responds to feelings, emotions. The more danger, the more connection." Jace raised an eyebrow. "So running for our lives is romantic now?" She smiled faintly, but then her face darkened. "Jace, this bond, if it's real, they'll do anything to stop it." He stepped closer. "And what do you want?" She looked up at him, eyes shimmering. "I don't know yet, but I want to choose. Not let them choose for me." The moment was soft. Too soft. A sound, whir, echoed above. Jace tackled Lyra. As a drone fired down, missing them by inches. "We've got to keep moving," he yelled. They made it to a hidden lift that Jace knew from his maintenance routes. As the lift lowered them to the dark cargo decks, Lyra leaned against the wall, her face pale. "I can't believe I'm doing this," she whispered. Jace looked at her. "Doing what?" "Running from my own kind. For a human." Jace gave a small smile. "Yeah, it's kinda crazy." She looked at him. "And yet, it feels right." The gem pulsed again, as if confirming her words. At the bottom deck, old ships sat abandoned in shadows. Jace walked toward one. "I think we need to leave the station." "Leave?" Lyra blinked. "That would make us outlaws." He turned to her. "Aren't we already?" She bit her lip, then nodded. In that moment, a silent bond grew stronger, not just from the gem, but from trust. But as they prepared to board, the old cargo ship far above them, Velta made a final call. "Send the hunters, I want my daughter back, and if the human resists, break him." The heart doesn't lie. Lyra sat in the co-pilot's seat, her silver hands gripping the edges tightly. Jace leaned forward, fingers flying across the controls, coaxing the broken engine to fly. Sparks flashed above them, and the dashboard screamed warnings. "This crate isn't built for escape runs," Jace shouted. "It's all we've got," Lyra snapped back, trying to steady the thrusters. Behind them, bright flashes lit up the sky. Small pursuit drones followed like wolves, red eyes glowing in the dark. The old ship rattled as they pushed through the outer atmosphere of the station. Jace looked over. "Hang on!" He slammed the emergency warp lever. For one moment, silence. Then boom, the ship vanished into hyperspace. Inside the ship, lights flickered and gravity adjusted with a jerk. They both slumped in their seats, breathing hard. Lyra looked down at her wrist. The gem was still glowing, but now it pulsed slower, softer, like it was calm. She looked at Jace. He was covered in sweat, grease on his hands, his eyes focused on the screen. "Thank you," she said softly. He glanced over. "For what?" "For not leaving me behind." Jace shrugged. "You didn't leave me, either." Lyra leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "I was born into duty, into tradition. I was trained to ignore emotions. But now," she paused, "now I feel everything." Jace chuckled. "That's how humans live every day. A mess of feelings." She looked at him. "How do you stand it?" He looked back. "Sometimes we don't. But we choose what matters." Lyra blinked, surprised by the depth in his voice. She didn't speak. But the gem glowed again, warmer than before. They docked on a quiet moon, hidden from scanners. It was barren, filled with old ruins and wild wind. Inside a small cave, they lit a fire from broken tech pieces and shared a packet of dried food Jace had stored in his gear. The silence between them wasn't awkward anymore. It was peaceful. Lyra sat close to the fire. "Do you believe in fate?" Jace thought. "Not really. I believe in choices. In moments." She nodded slowly. "My people, we believe the soulmate indicator is sacred, that it never lies." Jace looked at her wrist. "Then what does it say about us?" She raised her hand, letting the light shine between them. "It says, the heart doesn't lie." There was something in her voice, soft, trembling, real. He reached out and lightly touched her fingers. The gem flared. Lyra gasped, not in fear, but wonder. "I feel like I've known you longer than a few days," she whispered. "Same," Jace said. Then suddenly, her eyes widened. "We're not alone." Jace jumped up, grabbing a nearby tool rod. The firelight flickered. From the cave entrance, a figure stepped out, tall, armored, and silent. It wasn't a station guard. It was a hunter, the most dangerous assassins of her people, sent only for special tasks like recovering a runaway princess or ending a forbidden bond. The hunter's helmet glowed red. Lyra stood in front of Jace. "No, you'll have to go through me." The hunter didn't speak, but raised a weapon. Jace shouted, "Lyra!" She closed her eyes. "Trust me." The gem on her wrist pulsed fast, and then an energy wave burst from it, hitting the hunter square in the chest. The figure flew back, crashing into the rocks outside. Jace stared. "What was that?" Lyra looked at her hand in shock. I don't know. I think the bond is protecting us." Outside, the hunter staggered to his feet, and from his communicator a dark voice spoke. "Don't kill her yet. The bond is growing. Let it. We need to know how strong it becomes." Back in the cave, Lyra trembled. "What if this bond is more than just a signal?" she whispered. Jace looked at her. "Then maybe it's the key to something bigger," and, in that quiet moment, the fire between them wasn't the only thing burning. Something deeper had begun. Something neither the stars nor bloodlines could control. The alien council's judgment far from the tower on the hidden moon. Jace and Lyra watched the stars outside the cave. The fire had died, but their bond hadn't. Jace turned to her. "You said your council will judge us. What does that mean?" Lyra didn't look at him. "It means they'll take me, test the bond, and if they decide it's dangerous..." He already knew the end of that sentence. "They'll kill me?" he asked quietly. She nodded. "Or erase you from my memory. That's the council's way. Silence over scandal. Before he could answer, a small beacon on her wrist blinked. A soft voice echoed from it. Princess Lyra, by order of the Royal Council, you are summoned. You will surrender peacefully. Jace stood. It's a trap. No, she said. It's a choice. She looked him in the eyes. We run and we stay hunted forever, but if we go, maybe they'll listen. Jace frowned. You trust them? No, she said. But I trust you. If we stand together, maybe we can change their minds. He hesitated, then nodded. Let's face them. The ship landed on the royal moon of Kareth, a place of ancient judgment. Guards surrounded the landing bay, weapons ready, but did not fire. They knew she came willingly. Jace and Lyra were led through halls of glowing stone, past statues of alien gods and great kings. Finally, they entered the Chamber of Council, a dome of silence and stars. 13 counselors stared down from their seats, eyes cold. Ambassador Velta, Lyra's father, stood in the center. He didn't smile when he saw her. Daughter, he said, his voice like thunder. You bring shame. She stood tall. I bring truth, he sneered. With this creature by your side? Jace clenched his fists but said nothing. The eldest counselor raised a hand. Enough. Bring forth the test. From a silver case, a strange orb was lifted. It shimmered with cosmic light. The test of Zarin, used once every 100 years to measure true bond energy. If your bond is false, the orb will turn black, the elder said. If it is real, it will glow. Lyra reached out. So did Jace. Their hands touched the orb at the same time. The room held its breath. For one long second, nothing. Then, the orb exploded in light. Not just white, but gold, blue, red, colors never seen before. The council gasped. One of them dropped to their knees. Prophecy, whispered an old voice. Ambassador Velta's eyes widened. No, this is a trick. But the gem on Lyra's wrist lit in harmony with the orb. The bond was not only real, it was ancient. Suddenly, the doors burst open. The hunter from the moon stepped forward, half burned but alive. He threw something on the floor, an energy shard. This bond is not just emotional, he growled. It's powerful. The girl released energy not even our best can match. Counselor Marr stood slowly. Then this is not just love. It is evolution, whispered another. Ambassador Velta roared. They are a threat to our order. Lyra stepped forward. No, we are a chance. A new path. You said we must protect the future. Well, we are the future. Jace took her hand, silently. The chamber fell silent again. Then the elder rose. Let the council decide. One by one, the votes were cast. Some shouted no, others whispered yes, and in the end, the bond was approved, but with one condition: they must leave alien space, forever. Outside, as they walked to their ship, Jace looked at her. You okay? No, she said, but I'm free. The gem pulsed warmly. Behind them, the council doors closed, but something had changed forever. The galaxy would never be the same again. Her ultimate defiance later, inside the quiet of their small ship, Lyra sat on the floor in deep thought. The stars moved slowly past the windows, like cold watchers. She closed her eyes, remembering her training. She had once sworn to obey the ancient codes. She was taught that love was for the weak, that leaders never follow feelings. But now her gem glowed for a human, and her heart followed it, not out of rebellion, but truth. Jace, she said quietly, I want to do something. Impossible. He sat beside her. That's been our whole journey. She looked into his eyes. I want to speak to the galaxy. I want to show everyone what this bond really means. I want them to see it with their own eyes, so no one can ever erase it again. He blinked. You want to go public? I want to start a movement, he smiled. Then let's give them something they'll never forget. 3 days later, the stars watched as a strange broadcast reached thousands of systems. A live message, unauthorized, raw, and emotional. Lyra stood on the deck of their ship, wearing no royal robes, no crown, just her real face, her real self. Jace stood beside her, silent but proud. Her voice echoed, "My name is Lyra Velta. I was born into power, into tradition, into silence. But my heart chose something different. It chose truth. It chose love. It chose him." She raised her wrist. The Soulmate gem lit the screen with a golden light. You told us it was forbidden, that it was wrong. But this light does not lie. The bond is real, and I will not hide it. I will not be silent. Her voice grew stronger. To those who feel alone, to those afraid to love someone different, I say you are not alone. If we are to build a future worth living in, then we must tear down the walls that separate us. And then she said the words no one expected. I reject my title. I renounce the bloodline. I choose freedom. Across the galaxy, chaos broke. Out, some alien leaders screamed for her arrest. Others called her a traitor. But something strange began to happen. Messages started flooding back. Young aliens, humans, even hybrids, saying, I felt the same. I never told anyone. Your words gave me courage. Lyra had lit a spark, and it began to spread. But power never surrenders quietly. That same night, as they slept aboard the ship, a secret vessel arrived, cloaked, silent, deadly. Her father's private fleet. A message was sent. Final warning, come outside alone. Jace stood beside her, ready to fight, but she shook her head. No weapons, no fear, I'll face him myself. He grabbed her hand. Don't go alone. She kissed his cheek. I'm not alone. Not anymore. Outside on the barren moon where the two ships met, Lyra stepped forward in the starlight. Her father stood waiting, cold and unbending. You still carry that gem? He said, staring at her wrist. I carry what it gave me, she replied. A new path. He reached out his hand. Come home. This can all disappear. She looked at him for a long time. Then she stepped back. No. You would throw away your future for that human? I'm not throwing it away, she said, her voice steady. I'm building it. And then something unbelievable happened. Behind her, people began arriving. Ships, small and big, aliens, humans, outcasts, royals. One by one, they stood beside her. The spark had become a flame, a movement. Her father looked around, stunned. His power was no longer feared. He turned and walked away without another word. He had lost, not by battle, but by her defiance. The final bond. The newly rising movement, made of humans, aliens, rebels, scholars, gathered on a neutral planet called Myros, a place once abandoned by war. Here, Jace and Lyra stood beneath a wide sky of two suns. Her soulmate gem pulsed brighter than ever, but this time it wasn't alone. Others had begun to glow too. The ancient signal had awakened in other hearts. Pairs who were once afraid now stood side by side. But peace never comes without resistance. From the darkness of space came the Purge fleet, ships from the old regime led by secret factions who wanted the old rules restored. They sent one message. Surrender the girl, destroy the bond, or burn. The crowd trembled. Some ships fled. Others prepared for battle. Jace stood by Lyra, gripping her hand. We don't run anymore, he said. She nodded. Then we make our stand. As the enemy ships descended, a strange energy stirred in the sky. Lyra raised her wrist, and the gem flared. Jace's chest lit with a mirror glow. Two lights, one bond, and then, around them, others began to shine. One by one. hundreds, thousands. The old Soulmate indicators had been silent for generations, but now they awoke, as if the universe itself had been waiting for this moment. The purge fleet opened fire, but something impossible happened. The light from the Soulmate bonds formed a shield, a living barrier of emotion and power stretching. Across the battlefield, explosions slammed against the light but could not pass through. The fleet stalled, their weapons useless, their fear grew, and then the fleet commander gave the order. Retreat. It's not a battle, it's evolution. After the dust cleared, and the last ship fled into the stars, the crowd gathered around Jace and Lyra. Hybrid girl with golden eyes stepped forward. You changed everything, she whispered. No, Lyra replied. We did. Weeks passed. A new council was formed, open to all species, all voices. And on the central day of its creation, a new bond ceremony was held. Not forced, not arranged, but chosen. Lyra and Jace stood beneath the twin moons of Myros. No crowns, no chains, just truth. I never imagined my future would begin in a mechanic's hangar, she said, smiling. And I never thought touching a stranger would change the galaxy, he replied. Their hands met. The gem between them pulsed, once and then split into two. A piece remained on her wrist, a piece on his, no longer one, but connected, forever.